this is a special Kicking with the Rickens, redefining retirement. Because in the studio in person, not that we don't hang out sometimes, but like actually in the studio recording, and both of us, because it's been it's been a two-legged bar stool the last few times we've been together. We've got not only Heidi Ricken-Provost, but we also have Gerry Ricken-Provost, who's back in, who you've been so busy and traveling and all these different things. I've been busy in a one-legged man in an ass-kicking contest. And on that note...
So PC. Welcome to Kicking with the Rickens.
And welcome to Kicking with the Rickens. And on that note, what we're going to do today, because it's been a while since all three of us have been in the power triangle here, and because we're all in person, and we've had some big milestones and oh my goshes, we're just going to get caught up because we know that a lot of you tune in not only to get great insights on finance and retirement and all that, which of course you could do by going to rickenfinancial.com or dialing 314-442-6476. But you also, because we come here to have a good time. We come to laugh hard and have a holiday, right?
I'm telling you, if you don't laugh, there's something wrong with you.
Our buddy Brian used to say this best, if you're not laughing at this content, it's probably because you need to go to Kudus, and Kudus is one of the funeral homes in St. Louis. Which makes me laugh, but at the end of the day, maybe you go to Kriegshauser instead, which is our family. So, one and the same, either way.
That's so funny. But it's true. And that is one of the reasons why we've gained a following on the show. So, of course, if you get a good belly laugh out of this, and we're going to get to some of these in a minute, because really, when you hear this, you're going to think we're making this up. We're really not, okay?
You can't make this up.
You can't make this up. Real life is stranger than fiction, as the movie said, right? So, if you get a good belly laugh at this, we'd love for you to not only subscribe if you don't already, but also send the link to some people you know that not only need to hear retirement podcasts, but also really get to know Gerry and Heidi and myself and have a good laugh. And that's what we're going to do today. So first off, we're going to start on the upswing, Heidi, and that's that you celebrated your birthday.
I did.
All right. And I was all pumped about that. I didn't know about any of these other stories we're going to get into until you stepped into the room today. But birthday, what were the celebrations like? What did we do?
I took the day off work, which I don't do very often unless it's like, something where we're doing a work event usually.
Right.
But I took the day off and I'm like, this is awesome. I'm going to get a massage. And so I woke up and I was on the way to go get my massage. And I'm like, oh, I get a free Starbucks coffee. So I'm going to go drive through Starbucks.
I didn't know that, by the way. I didn't know Starbucks gave free birthday coffee. So
you either get a free drink or a free
I'm sure you
food.
paid for it through the price of coffee over the years.
That's correct.
Absolutely.
But still, though, okay, one of the little bennies of Starbucks. So you're going to get your free coffee.
And I'm in line, and to get into the parking lot, there were 4 people behind me, and the woman in front of me just backs into me at full speed, didn't turn around, didn't anything, no explanation. So I got in my first ever car accident. I am perfectly fine. I am healthy. I'm fine. My car is not. But it's all good because it's just a car, but could have 100% been avoidable. So that was fun.
Oh, my gosh. Now, was the car drivable after?
It is, but she broke all the sensors in the front of my car, so it sounds like you're hitting something. And when you're like parking in a parking spot and it's like beep, 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 beep. Yeah. That's what it's doing when you're in drive.
Oh, my gosh, all the time. So Starbucks parking lot, someone backs into you. You don't get the coffee, right?
I didn't even get my coffee. That was the worst part about it. But I was like, you know what? I need this massage more than ever now. So I went and hung out with Zen Jen, got my massage and energy healing, and then made it home. And I fully planned on running some errands, taking a couple of things back to stores and, that kind of thing. And severe weather hits.
So that's this. We're recording on May the 19th, so this is Friday night, May 16th.
Yes,
correct.
May 16th
Afternoon, Friday afternoon. Yep.
And all of a sudden, the sirens are going off. I wasn't. For better or worse, we don't pay that much attention to the tornadoes because we've been in so many and whatever.
Just this season alone, you've had several scares. Yeah,
we have.
It's a thunderstorm, whatever, and then all of a sudden the sirens are going off, and I hear this huge crash, and I just ran to the basement in my house. My basement's unfinished. It's old. And I called my sister because I couldn't connect. My power was flashing. I couldn't connect to anything. My parents are on the beach, so it's not like they're going to answer the phone or whatever. But I was like...
By the way, that was the first birthday of yours I've ever missed.
That is. Yeah.
You missed my birthday this year.
Yeah, we missed each other's birthdays this year.
I see what the secret
Oh,
is,
yeah.
Gerry.
So I'm on the phone with Barbie, and she was like, Heidi, there's a tornado, like, literally in your neighborhood. You need to because I was like, do I need to do, like, the elementary school thing where, like, you crouch or whatever? And she's like, yeah, you actually do. And don't go stand in the part of your basement by all the wine. Go away from that so you don't get hit by all that glass.
Yeah.
And come to find, that was just one of the big crashes I heard. That one was our storm window breaking, but that's the only damage we had at our house. But I went outside to survey it, and my neighborhood looks like a third world country right now. Because I live on the edge of Forest Park, and the tornado touched down in Clayton, went through Forest Park down into the city. So we had some of that tornadic activity on the outskirts of the actual tornado that hit my neighborhood.
Oh, my gosh.
So luckily we're
Over
okay.
100-year-old trees
We're
just
okay,
uprooted,
but
snapped in half.
100-plus-year-old trees are uprooted and on my neighbors' homes and cars, and
but thankfully everyone in your neighborhood was okay, and unfortunately we had some loss of life in St. Louis, which
I'm actually kind of shocked we've
only
only lost 5 people so far, because my sister and I drove through the devastation this weekend, and it was
horrible,
unbelievable.
That's.
I mean,
maybe the fact that it hit kind of during the day and people if it had hit in the middle of the night that way, it could have been a lot worse. I guess
that's right. Yep.
But, for the first time in my life that I can remember, the zoo was shut down for a weekend, and it was one of the nicest weekends we've had so far this year.
The zoo's in Forest Park, and it just got devastated as well.
Is that the closest brush? Because y'all live in Tornado Alley, let's be real. Yeah. Is that the closest brush that you've had with tornadoes?
No, I've watched one hop the house I was in before, but that was in St. Louis, which is more abnormal than...
You mean in Kansas City?
No.
Oh,
that was in St. Louis when I was having my piano lessons.
Oh, that's right. I remember that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
How about you? You've probably touched a tornado.
Yeah, I've seen several. It's when you grow up in the plains of Kansas, you do see tornadoes.
Yeah.
And you can see them, so you can actually see them and then take shelter, and then all of a sudden they fly over, or they've wiped out entire farms I've seen before. And I was the first one on the scene with my uncle one time, and it was like, whew. That's a tough one.
That's tough. I remember I got really, like around 5th grade or so, I got really honed in on study. I was all obsessed with severe weather. And I remember reading a diary post that someone had made of a tornado that had happened like the 1920s, where they actually looked up and saw, you saying it going over your house is what reminded me of this. And they looked up and they looked inside, and they could see several mini twisters inside of the tornado as it's passing over them. And this really strange, crazy moment.
Oh, yeah.
So, and then, but okay,
that's
enough
I will tell you a
excitement.
little. I want to tell you a little bit of story about. We've talked a lot about my dad, Grandpa Willie. He was a firefighter, farmer.
Oh my God.
And an entrepreneur, overall entrepreneur.
You can tell we don't rehearse because Heidi doesn't know what story it is. She's like, I don't know that one.
The second I figured out which story he's telling, this is a good one.
So he was in charge at the firehouse one day, and he had a rookie, kid's first day.
Yeah.
He's like 23 years old. And he said, this kid isn't going to make it. He knew he was going to make it because he just didn't have what it took. So he said, but I'm going to test him out. So he said, okay, here's what I want you to do. I want you to get in full gear and set up the ladder. And he put him on top of the station. On top of this 2.5 stories up, on top of the station, and said, I want you to look out for tornadoes.
As a joke.
As a joke. So he stayed out there, and he just put him up there and said, just watch out for tornadoes. So then Dad started barbecuing, and all of a sudden the wind started picking up, and he had to actually move the barbecue pit inside the fire station.
Oh, my gosh.
So it wouldn't blow away. And then
typical firefighter move, move the fire thing inside.
Then all of a sudden, they got a notification over the radio that there was a tornado in the vicinity, and all of a sudden, Dad goes, "Oh, that guy's still on the roof." So he went out, and they heard the ladder fall down. The wind blew the ladder down. So it took 3 of them to put the ladder back up, and he came up there and he said, "Get your ass down here!" So he said he almost lost a firefighter because then, as soon as he got there, it was actually a white tornado, and it flew right over the fire station and hit the house across the street.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
So the guy would have been gone.
He stuck a rookie up there, and I guess when he said this guy isn't going to make it, he literally meant it, huh?
Yeah, I know. Let him know he was putting his life in danger.
Yeah, exactly. So that happened. So that was... that was one of Dad's practical jokes.
Fun with tornadoes. By the way, I should interject here. Our last 2 episodes, Heidi went over Murphy's Law of legacy planning, the ways it can really cost you. That was our most recent one. The one before that were these three elements mixed. It was Grandpa Willie, Al Capone, and the IRS. Oh, and the fourth element, moonshine. Okay.
Yes.
So Kicking with the Ricketts, indeed. You need to check those out. Apple, Spotify, iHeart, and the podcast page on rickenfinancial.com because Grandpa Willie, quite the character in more ways than one. Now, you would think that's enough excitement. Okay. We've had a car crash, a missed coffee, a late massage on a birthday, and then having to take shelter during a tornado that just destroyed a large portion of your neighborhood. And then that wasn't it as far as the excitement for the weekend.
We were walking around to take
aftermath.
pictures of the trees and everything because there was significant damage and we had to survey it for the neighborhood and everything. And I was the lucky member of our neighborhood who found out that one of the downed trees had an angry bee's nest in it.
Oh, my gosh.
And a beehive, and I got stung by a bee on the top of my foot, and I couldn't get the stinger out, so I had to walk home with the stinger on the top of my foot to find tweezers because it was so little, none of us could prick it out. So, and I was on the opposite corner of my neighborhood. So I'm very lucky. I did not know this until right now. I am not allergic to bee stings, thank God.
Okay.
How about that? So there's a positive.
Sometimes you got to go through pain to get the game.
Silver lining.
All right.
In all those dark clouds.
And then I got to have dinner at my absolute favorite restaurant at Truffles. So, you know, I got to enjoy the night. And they actually had fresh white truffle available that night. So I ate the venison with white truffle. It was delicious.
That's fantastic. This was all still a birthday, or was this Saturday, the day after?
That was all birthday.
Wow. So
big day.
The tornado hit, and then you got to go to Truffles, just to be clear.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that's categorized here. Now, before we move on, because there's some more, we've got some breaking news too about the family, so we want to talk about that. Gerry, where in the world were you during all this?
Well, last year I wasn't able to travel for quite a few weeks because I had a detached retina. So Sheila and I decided to go to Hilton Head to kind of celebrate a deferred 40th anniversary.
Oh, heck yeah. Happy late anniversary.
Well,
yes.
Thank you. It was a little over a year, almost a year behind in my scheduling there. And
a preemptive happy 41st then.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. So we went to Hilton Head for a week, and that's why I wasn't there, on Heidi's birthday. But I was there in spirit with her. But, hung out on the beach, did some work every morning, and then hung out on the beach in the afternoon. And
sounds incredible.
And we went to Savannah for a couple days, and it rained the entire time we were in Savannah. Then we got to Hilton Head, and it rained on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday.
Oh, my gosh.
But we got the rest of the week as the sunshine. So it was, we had the wettest April in the history of St. Louis. So we brought the rain with us.
Yep.
So
that's fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, the whole South was just soggy
Drenched.
and weird
Oh,
over the weekend that you were in Hilton Head. Okay.
Yep.
So you were there for that, and then, and I want to make sure I get the order of events right. We're moved into the new office.
Yes.
Heidi and I have already done a couple of shows from the new office, but there was a special delivery that got real special.
It's the best laid plans. When we anticipated our move, we scheduled it around our travel schedule. So as you know, Heidi was down here a couple of weeks ago. Then I was gone last week, and now we're both in Atlanta again this week. And we were supposed to move a month before we moved. So as soon as we moved, then all of our travel started happening. So my office is still a mess. So I just meet people in other offices right now because I don't even have pictures hung on the wall or anything like that. But we were very excited because we changed the entire entryway. It's it's really a showcase entryway. It's all glass. We were at a glass door, and there's a big, large door that's a wooden door there now. So they were delivering this morning at 7 a.m. the new door. When they put it on the truck, they broke it. It shattered.
Yeah, they were like, we're so sorry we have a shattered door now.
So thank goodness. I mean, no one got hurt in that. And they didn't take the old door off first. So we still have a door.
Okay.
So we still have a secure office. So you just can't see through that door right now. And it'll be just a little bit because now we have to reorder the door.
Oh, my gosh. But at least you still have a door on the office.
Yes.
And thankfully, this was the door to the bathroom, too. That's the other.
That's
true. All just,
you don't want a glass door to your bathroom?
We can have the frosted glass. No, I don't. And by the way, I don't understand why bathrooms have windows either, but that's a whole other thing. Come on. A light on the ceiling is good enough. I don't need any of that. Okay, now, there's another thing, too, though, because there's big news in the Midwest.
Yes.
First American Pope.
Absolutely.
And Gerry and Heidi.
I mean, we kind of bet each other back and forth about it, and Dad was like, you know, you're going to see an American Pope in your lifetime, but I'll never see one in mine. And I'm like, Dad, I don't think we're progressive enough to have an American Pope in my lifetime. Are you kidding me? And the next day.
And every semester, we have the seminarians from the Wichita Diocese over to our home for burgers, beer, and bourbon.
Yeah.
So we had that
as any archdiocese would.
Absolutely,
absolutely.
absolutely, as any good Catholic would. So we have them over, and we had them over that Saturday before the conclave, and we all sat around and talked about that and said, okay, who believes we're going to have an American Pope in our lifetime? And I'm like, no, and really no one did.
No, none of us did.
Not seminarians, nobody. And then all of a sudden, Pope Leo the 14th was named, and he's born in Chicago. And his last name is Prevost. And
P-R-E-V-O-S-T.
And Heidi's last name is Provost.
P-R-O-V-O-S-T.
And the Prevost and Provost are related. Okay, because just like our last name is Ricken, R-I-C-K-E-N, the C was changed from an E when my great uncle Bill.
All of our family in Germany is still
they're all R-I-E-K-E-N. And we
have one American R-I-E-K-E-N we found too.
Yes. So it's Ricken, it's Ricken. So it's Prevost, it's Provost. So a lot of names get changed like that. So I took it upon myself to do a lot of research in my own mind and concocted.
That's the best part, in my own mind.
In my own mind, and concocted a story that Pope Leo the 14th is actually related to my son-in-law, Stephen Provost.
That's fantastic.
And a lot of people bid it hook, line, and sinker. When my sister Ann listens to this, she'll say, you hold. So
she's going to have lots of words.
Donut. He beeped out the word
because
donut. There,
she's the most gullible of them all, so she's going to be extra
In fact, she even asked me if I had shared that news with our cousin Bishop Ricken, who is the Bishop of Green Bay, Wisconsin. And I said, no, I haven't had a chance to do that yet. So
we want to. So let's just pause here because maybe it didn't sink in for her yet. All right, because you're just going, I just told. No, let's just be clear.
I am not related to the Pope.
Okay. If we walk away from one,
I think we all are,
thing,
though, through Adam and Eve. I mean, we're all related.
Oh, come on. The Prevost and Provost have zero relation. It is a made-up story by Gerry, who also got Frank in on it, my father-in-law. Just in case anyone reached out to Frank, he wanted Frank to know the story, too.
Okay.
And I thought it was a very clever story. I thought it was extremely clever.
Yeah, I got about 100 text messages because all of his friends' kids kept being like, you're related to the Pope? This is insane. And then all of the family, I can't believe you guys are cousins with the Pope. Here's what Stephen had to say about it. You sent us that video of him at the
2005 World Series.
Yeah, the World Series, rooting for the White Sox.
Yeah.
Stephen looked at that and was like, there's no way he's related to me. He's choosing the wrong socks to be a fan of.
Okay.
Because
since Stephen is from Boston.
Yeah, he's like, any guy that's a fan of the White Sox is not my cousin. Sorry, guys.
I will tell you, I am very, very happy for the Chicago White Sox, though, because if any team needs somebody to root for them, having the Pope as a fan is huge because they have been atrocious.
They need all the prayers they can get.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, that 2005 World Series feels like a lot more than 20 years ago, considering how they're historically been bad these days. Yep. Okay, so just to clear up, Heidi's not related to the Pope, all right? And just to clear up that we haven't had any tornadoes or bad omens following us in here. There aren't any black cats walking under ladders.
No.
It's a reset. That was all on May 16th, all on your birthday. Is this going to affect how you celebrate your birthdays from now on?
No.
Just use your horn more often.
Yeah, exactly.
Someone starts backing into you.
You know what I just thought of when you said that, though? As soon as the tornado ended, I walked outside, and there was a black cat sitting on my front porch. And I asked all the neighbors, I'm like, who does this cat belong to? And everyone's like, we thought it was your cat. We thought it was your cat. So,
my wife
maybe
Momo now is going to fly to St. Louis to come rescue this cat, of
maybe
course.
I just need to leave my neighborhood so that black cloud and that black cat are not following me around everywhere. And then I can truly celebrate my birthday every year moving forward. Maybe we'll start celebrating on my half birthday.
Well, every day is a holiday. After all.
Any day could be your birthday.
Could be your birthday.
Oh yeah.
So before we
it's
get out
a
of
good
here,
day to have a good day.
It is, and that's it is about mindset, but it's also you can't just have hope without. You've told some funny anecdotes about hope without plans is what a handful of you know what. Okay, so look, our last thing here before we go, just real quickly. granted, all of these things turned out well, at least on your side, Heidi. I know a lot of your neighbors are reeling from things. I'm hoping everybody had the right insurance and there were plans and all of that. You could have 4 or 5 bad things happen in a row, and without a contingency plan, you could really be up the creek.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, you know what? Because you always have to plan, and unfortunately, this tornado that happened in St. Louis really surprised people. I mean, there was not a lot of warning.
No,
I mean, all of a sudden, it just appeared. And typically, we get a lot of warnings beforehand because of the circulation and all that stuff, and the Doppler radar and all the technologies that they have now. But this one kind of surprised people. But you never have to really – I mean, you should always be willing to adjust when things do happen, because things do happen in life. But if the more you plan, the better off you're going to be, especially in retirement. Yeah. And we can't emphasize that enough.
Well, that's why we do what we do. You know, our entire livelihood is based on the unknowns. We plan for all of the unknowns we can think of, you know, with each prospect and client that comes to meet with us, because you don't know what the future has in store. So you got to have a plan in place, whether it's a bright and beautiful future or the tornadoes coming to hit us in some form or fashion, whether it's market downturn or you're underinsured or, you know, any situation that could happen. You're not prepared for taxes for the future or long-term care or anything else that's going to hit us. You don't have the right form of income coming in. You choose the wrong Social Security timing. You got to have a plan in place. So that's why we do what we do. And you know, and
you have to be able to pivot. I mean, and readjust that plan, because life does throw you curveballs, and with any change, you need to change your plans. You know, and adjust those plans accordingly, because you know, unfortunately, people get sick. People get sick every day, and maybe they're the breadwinner and they're still working and they get sick, and all of a sudden they can't work. And what happens now? How do we survive? How do we get cash flow? All those things we just need to be aware of. And just be aware that we're here to help. Yes. And we're here to help every day. And we just, it isn't a set it and forget it plan. Now, none of our plans are ever set it and forget it.
And it's also never too late.
It isn't. Right. It's never too late to plan, and it's never too late to adjust.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Well, look, if you want to sit down and maybe get the first look ever at making a plan, or maybe
you know what you're going to do? You're going to reach out to Ricken Financial.
Absolutely.
That's right. That's right.
That's why this is one of our OG podcasts. All right.
Yes.
No,
that's right.
Dial up, though, 314-442-6476. You can also find Heidi and Gerry and the team at rickenfinancial.com, Facebook page, Instagram, YouTube.
If you can't figure out how to spell it, just take a look at the show notes and you'll be able to find all that data too.
That's
you know?
correct.
That's exactly right.
And we've got in the show notes here our producer Brandon Benefield and the ones and twos over here. And by the way, we love Brandon.
He's
the
man.
He's had his hand on the bleep
MVP.
button the whole time.
Brandon, but he's our man.
He is.
If he can't do it, nobody can.
That's good. But in the show notes are links to all of those things there. But set up that second look at a plan, your first look at making a plan, and they've been here the whole time. And look, Heidi Stafford, a picture of Brandon right now. I love that. All right. So, y'all, thank you so much for making time today. And we can't, and you've already alluded to the phrasing, but we got to say it. Okay, one more time. Gerry, every day
is a holiday.
And Heidi, life is short.
Laugh hard.
Amen to that. Gerry Ricken, Heidi Ricken-Provost, they're here for you. Again, dial them up, 314-442-6476. I'm your co-host, Doug Turnbull. Big props to Brandon, and big props to all of you for listening in to Kicking with the Rickens, Redefining Retirement. We'll have another episode coming your way here shortly. If you like this, send this link to somebody, and be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. Have a blessed day, and we'll talk soon. Woo!
Insurance products are offered through the insurance business Ricken Financial LLC. Ricken Financial LLC is also an investment advisory practice that offers products and services through Impact Partnership Wealth LLC, a registered investment advisor. IPW does not offer insurance products. The insurance products offered by Ricken Financial LLC are not subject to investment advisor requirements. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims-paying abilities of the issuing carrier. This podcast is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual situation. Ricken Financial LLC is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during the show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Ricken Financial LLC.
Please remember that converting an employer plan account to a Roth IRA is a taxable event. Increased taxable income from the Roth IRA conversion may have several consequences. Be sure to consult with a qualified tax advisor before making any decisions regarding your IRA.
Tax preparation and tax advisory services services are offered through Ricken Financial. These services are not offered by IPW and are not subject to investment advisor requirements. These services referenced are an outside business activity not offered through or supervised by IPW.